So one of the most important things I've learned so far in this journey is how to be authentically me. I think a lot of times when we post on social media, we forget that there's real people on the other side of the screen. And unfortunately, most times on social media, people only share the good stuff. They're not completely transparent, and it makes it seem, for those who are struggling, like why they question themselves. Why am I struggling? Like, what am I doing wrong that I'm struggling? And this person is doing, so well. It's like they're always hitting these goals, and you should never compare yourself to somebody else, but it's so easy to do that. And one of the ways you can stop comparing yourself to other people is to be authentically yourself. So if you're sharing your journey on social media, just think about the other person on the screen, and maybe you've been in this situation where you can ask yourself, is what I'm sharing authentic? Is it transparent? And you don't have to share every single detail, but if you are struggling with something, show that you're struggling with it. Whatever it has to do with, whether it's mentally, physically, whether you're struggling with mindset, whether you're struggling with nutrition, whether you're just struggling with life in general. Like, be authentic. Obviously, there's a line that you don't need to share step by step every single part of your day. Unless you want to, but it's so important to find and show people who are authentic, and especially to show somebody who may be struggling with the same thing. Like, it could be a connection for you. You could see that you are impacting somebody's life just by sharing your own struggles, because it's nice to know that we're not alone. It's all about accountability, and a lot of times we are able to do that through social media. I think a lot of times we look at these picture perfect Instagram posts where it's very posed and very clean, and it's a real person there, and their life probably isn't clean. Their journey is definitely not linear, even though it may seem like that. So while I've talked about not comparing yourself, if you're going to share things on your social media, make sure it's authentically you. Make sure it's your own words, your own captions. Like, make sure that you believe in everything that you're saying, because people are watching you. It's called social media for a reason. We're supposed to be building these connections, and to be honest, like, most people don't want to connect with somebody who seems perfect all the time, because it makes us feel bad about ourselves. And we want to connect with people who are similar to us, who have the same struggles, and cheer each other on, and make that person feel like that you have a connection with them. But one of the biggest takeaways I've had in this journey is being authentically myself. It is so easy to get caught up in this perfect world that social media shows us, especially on Instagram, where there's filters and portrait mode and things like that. And while it's fine to share pictures like that and be professional, like, you don't want somebody thinking that they can't relate to you because your journey doesn't have any struggles, because we all know this journey isn't linear. We all know that every single person struggles, whether they want to admit it or not. There's part of their journey where they're struggling. Nobody is perfect. We are all human. Most times it's with nutrition, and not enough people let other people know that. They don't focus on being authentic. You don't want people to focus or be turned off by the fact that they can't relate to you because your journey seems so perfect. for me, I love to be transparent. I love to show people that they aren't the only ones that struggle, because I want to build those meaningful connections. I don't want people to follow me just to see when my perfection is going to end, because I'm not a perfect human being. I struggle, and I try to share those struggles, because nutrition for me is a huge one, and I know that other people struggle with that, and maybe my struggle and me working through that is going to help somebody else. It's so important to make those meaningful connections. Whether you are struggling with nutrition, maybe it's getting those workouts done. When you have to admit, when you get on social media and you see somebody else is struggling, and it makes you feel connected, it makes you feel like you're not alone, and it makes you feel like, okay, this is normal to be struggling and not to always have it together all the time. And while we have filters on social media and things like that, and it's fine to play around with them, but like, you don't want every single post to feel polished and to feel like you're perfect all the time, because let's be honest, nobody's perfect all the time. And I'll say it again, this journey is not linear. Nobody is perfect all the time. Nobody is perfect with nutrition all the time. There's no such thing as perfect nutrition. I mean, there's really no such thing as perfect at all. We are perfectly imperfect, and in order to wrap our minds around this being a journey and not just a destination, we have to remember that we're gonna make mistakes, we're gonna stumble, we're gonna have setbacks, we're gonna have obstacles, but we need to remember that what we see on social media is most times, or commonly, probably not what the person is going through. A lot of people just want to show, especially if they're in the industry and they're showing other people, you know, workouts to try and nutrition to work through and things like that. We have to show people who we truly are. You want to be authentically you in your posts. You want to be able to say, those are my words, and when they've inspired somebody, it's a good feeling to know that you gave somebody a positive impact in their day or in their week or along their journey, because we're all here to support each other. You need to support somebody else if you want to be successful in your own journey. We need that accountability. We need to give credit where credit is due. If you take a quote or you take words from somebody else, make sure you give them that credit, because you want to be authentic. You want to say, hey, these are my words, but they inspired me. Maybe I can share them with you and they can inspire you, or they can motivate you, or they can relight that fuel to your fire and make you want to be better, make you want to improve. And it's fine to borrow someone else's words and, you know, quote them, but make sure you give them that credit, and make sure that you know when you use that you explain why you're sharing it and what about it made you feel motivated, or relit something for you, or stopped you and made you think, wow, you know, I've never thought about it this way. Maybe I should, you know, change things up, or maybe I should consider this when I'm doing XYZ. I think it is so important to be authentically yourself, especially in the age where social media makes everybody kind of feel bad about themselves, and it's perfectly fine to unfollow those people that do make you feel bad about yourself, but just know that if it seems like they have a perfect life, that everything's going well for them, that they probably do have their struggles. They just don't feel comfortable sharing them. Maybe they feel embarrassed. Maybe they're going through something that they don't think anybody can relate to. But I really do think that if we were more authentic and more transparent in what we do choose to share on social media, that we would see a lot more uplifting of one another, especially as women, especially as moms. Like, I do not always have my stuff together, and I try to be honest about that, because I think a lot of moms get this mom guilt where they feel like, oh, well, you know, I saw a picture of so and so and it seems like, you know, they're they're just like have it all together and their house is always clean and their kids are always happy, and like that's not the case. Like, my house isn't always clean, my dishes aren't always done, my bed isn't always made. Sometimes my kids scream, they throw tantrums, they, like, just be real. Of course, we all have those moments where it feels good because we feel like today was a good day or these couple hours were great. But be authentic about it. Nobody wants to see somebody who seems like they have it together all the time and then find out later on that they actually aren't as perfect as they make it seem, because it makes it feel like they're faking it, like they're posing, like they're just doing it for the likes, or they're just doing it for attention on social media. And that's not what social media is for. It's to build meaningful connections. It's to relate to people and be inspired and determined. And I really think that if more people were authentic, that there would be much more of this empowerment, especially woman to woman. I think we compare ourselves to other women, or we get jealous and we try to kind of copy them or like do similar to what they're doing because it seems to be working for them. So just remember that you are authentically you. You have a greatness inside of you. You have so much potential. Don't waste your potential on doing something that somebody else is doing, or trying to copy them because you think they have it all together, because 9 times out of 10 they don't. And if somebody wants to build a meaningful connection with you, they want to get to know you. They don't want to get to know this facade that you put on for social media. And they don't want to get to know you by you copying somebody else's words. They want to get to know you as a person. They want to get to know you as and your journey and what works for you and what you've struggled with and how you figured out what worked for you. And they want to gain knowledge through maybe mistakes that you made, that you've shared, and you've allowed somebody to figure out that said fad diet that everybody else is doing, and even though everybody claims it works for them, and that if it doesn't, that you're doing something wrong, that hey, it didn't work for me either. So, and then let them know what you're doing. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that. It could be, what cardio moves you love. And it just really needs to come from a place where you're sharing it because you want to help other people, and not you're sharing it because you want attention or you want people to think that you're perfect or that you have it all together all the time. Because nobody has it together all the time. Especially if you're a mom. You could be organized, but let's be honest, especially if you're a toddler or kid of any age, they're going to throw a wrench in the works every once in a while. And sharing that and letting other moms know that, hey, I don't have my crap together. It's okay if you don't either, but you still are a great person. You have that potential, and you will be successful as long as you are authentically yourself. So much for tuning in today and sharing this time with me. Please stay tuned for future episodes and check out my podcast.